Hey everyone. I'm just making sure that everything is working and we're live on Facebook. Yep, looks like I'm there. Cool. Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday afternoon at 3:30, and that means that I'm going live on the VA Empowerment Circle group. This is Bianca from WAM Workspace. I'm a tech VA and agency owner of WAM Workspace. And I provide tech services, tech virtual assistant services to creative entrepreneurs around the world. We have a team of 10 girls who are work-at-home moms and provide services around the world. So that's just a little bit about who I am. I have an enormous passion for empowerment, and this series of live videos is designed specifically to empower virtual assistants, particularly in the South African space, to move their businesses forward and grow and provide services that make a difference in the world. And that is what I am super passionate about, is empowering women in particular. And that is something that sort of carries across into all of my businesses and the things that I'm interested in. Today, I am going to be chatting to you about how to find clients in your VA business, but in particular using networking for that. And I think it's a really important topic because networking can sometimes get a bit of a bad name or a bit of a bad rap. And I think people go into it with the wrong mindset. And I think that's often how it happens, that you don't, that you aren't able to sort of get the results that you should be getting from networking. And I think once again, much like last week's pricing one, a lot of it comes down to what you think about and your mindset when you go into a networking event. And so I'm going to talk both about sort of networking events in person, as well as the new and very interesting platform of networking online, whether that is in Facebook groups or virtual networking events that are happening in sort of Zoom spaces or eMeet or those sorts of places. But I think the same things sort of apply no matter where you go. And there's some really important things that I think it's key to sort of pay attention to. If you would like a cheat sheet on my networking 101 tips, leave a comment on this live on Facebook with the word #cheat sheet, and we will make sure to send you the link in Messenger so that you can sign up for the networking cheat sheet to be delivered to you. So when it comes to networking, I'm first going to touch on in-person, although honestly in South Africa that's not happening a hell of a lot at the moment. But I do know our networking KZN Women in Business went back to live meetings last week, which was very exciting and somewhat stressful. So there are people that are going back into meeting in person. And there are a few things, and I think especially after 2020, where we haven't been doing a lot of in-person things, we probably forget some of these things. So the things that you need to take with you are business cards, a pen and paper, phones for photographs, and an open mind. The business cards is something that I always struggle with, I will be honest. I think I have 6 business cards left in my handbag from the last 10 that I got in, I think, February of 2020, maybe even November of 2019. I am terrible at having business cards. What's interesting though is a lot of businesses, a lot of networking events now are using your business card as your name tag. So it may even be worth designing a business card that has your name sort of bigger and bolder than normal with your business logo, so that when you stick it into that little plastic holder thingy that is your name tag when you're in these networking events, that it's really clear what your name is and that people can see who you are. Remember, the key things that you want to put on a business card are your name, the most convenient way to contact you. So if, like me, you don't use your phone for that, I wouldn't even bother putting a phone number on a business card anymore. I would put my email address, I would put my Telegram link, and I would put my social handles. Those are the best places for people to get hold of me. If you like the phone, or it's an important way that you like to communicate with your clients, or if you use WhatsApp and you want them to communicate with you that way, then obviously you would need to include your phone number on your business card. I would put something like your tagline, or something that tells people what you do if your name is not very obvious. So for example, ours is WAM Workspace, empowering creative entrepreneurs to work better online. That's actually our old slogan. It's now empowering creatives to feel at home in the online space. So something about what you do. If your tagline and your business name still don't give enough information, I would include maybe 2 or 3 words of the services that you do. So mine says trainer, virtual assistant, and speaker. I think it says on my business card. You can tell I don't use them very often. If you were a virtual assistant and you specialized in general admin, I would maybe put inbox management, invoicing, and filing. I don't know. Adrian, who works with finance, would have management accounts, SARS and tax-related queries, and bookkeeping, for example. So just 2 or 3. Doesn't have to go into a lot of detail. You don't want to have too much words or too much information on your business card. You want it to stand out from the pack. Interestingly, I read a thing a while ago about networking, and the guy was saying that he used postcards as his business card because it always stood out in someone's pile of business cards when they went to a live networking. I tried that once. It was hit and miss. People liked it, and you can obviously get a lot more information onto that, but nobody ever pulls your card out the hat if they're drawing the door prize because you stand out from the crowd. So I will say that. And I like door prizes, don't we all? So those are the things that you want to take with. The phone for photos is for photographing information. Like, I hate bringing back piles and piles of flyers. I know how much money people have spent to have those printed, and I know what's going to happen when I get home with them. They are going to end up in either in my handbag or on a pile of papers under my desk that never actually gets looked at, or my children are going to be playing with them. So what I tend to do is I'll take photographs of the flyers that are at an event. I will leave them there for the business owners to take home and use for another event. And I will have the information that is relevant to me that I will actually take home with me. So those are the things. That's why I said make sure you take a phone to take photographs. Also make sure that if you're at a live event, you put your phone on silent almost as soon as you arrive, so that you know that you're not getting distracted by phone calls or anything like that. And then the key thing that I recommend is going with an open mind. And an open mind in this case is going with the intention to be valuable. So go with the intention of seeing how many other people you can support at a networking event. If you go with that mindset, it's going to open you up to people supporting you. Then I have a few things that I highly recommend that you prepare before you go to a live in-person event. The majority of these events are going to ask you to do your 30 or 60-second elevator pitch. If you've never heard of the elevator pitch, it comes from the idea that if you were able to get into an elevator with your ultimate ideal client, you had the time it takes from the bottom to the 10th floor to pitch your idea. It's about 30 seconds. And that's why it's called an elevator pitch. It's a confined space where everyone's going to pay attention to you for those 30 seconds. What are you going to do with them? There are a few key details that you need to remember and make sure that you're very clear about when you do your elevator pitch. You need to say your name and your business name very clearly at the beginning. You want to give a brief explanation of a problem you solve and try and tailor that for the audience that you're speaking to. You want to highlight one aspect of your business that solves this problem, and then say your name and your business name again so that people remember you. You also want to pay attention if you've been given particular instructions at the event of information that they want you to share. So for example, if you go to a BNI meeting, chances are they're going to ask you to share what sort of referrals you want. So for example, my 30 seconds, if I were to go to a BNI meeting today, would be, hi, my name is Bianca from WAM Workspace. We empower creative female entrepreneurs to feel at home in the online space. We are the people that you go to when your creative brain is so full of ideas and you don't know how to get them out onto the internet. You know you want to share what you have for the world with the rest of the world, but you just don't have the technical skills to put that into place. WAM Workspaces are a team of work-at-home moms who can support you in putting your ideas into the online space. The ideal client for me this week would be a photographer who wants to teach what she knows. That's Bianca from WAM Workspace, empowering creatives to feel at home in the online space. I didn't time myself, but I can pretty much guarantee that's about 30 seconds. The key is to repeat your name. People remember faces and names. Your business name, if it's something that stands out. Apologies for that. Not my cell phone. So you want to repeat your name and your business name at the beginning and the end. And you want to give the people that you're speaking to something very specific to assist you with. Example, if I was doing a 30 seconds pitch to a room full of potential virtual assistants, I would say, hi, I'm Bianca from WAM Workspace. I provide training for virtual assistants specific to the South African market. So if you are looking to up-level your business or start your business, then get in touch with me and we can help you get the skills you need to work with international clients and charge more and work less. That's Bianca from WAM Workspace. So some ideas for elevator pitches, but it's very helpful to think about this before you arrive at a networking event. And generally, they'll let you know beforehand if it's going to be a 30 or 60 second time, but I would still always have a 30 seconds prepared. I can always talk for longer. And practice it in the mirror if you need to, or on a Zoom call, or phone a friend. The more often you say it out loud, the easier it becomes, but also you start to pick up which words are difficult for you to say. And you can then tailor how you word your pitch. My next recommendation of things to prepare before you go to networking events is try and research the attendees. So if you go to a regular networking event, you may get a list of attendees a day or two before the event. I would certainly look through that list, have a look at who is, if you recognize anyone, have a look at the business names, see if there are businesses that interest you. And I would mark sort of 2 or 3 people that you are going to actively seek out when you get to the event. What that shows when you arrive is that you have had a look and you've done your homework and you're showing interest. It's a really good way to connect with people, to show that you've made an effort. I would also probably go and have a look at websites. of those people, just to get a feel for what they do. And it helps you to tailor what you're talking about when you're at a networking event. I would also research the organizer and be really get an idea of what they do and what the purpose of the networking event is for the organizer, because it's very useful to know if they're using the event to get more clients for themselves, or if they are using the event to connect people. If they're a nonprofit, maybe there's a charity. You want to try and get as much information that you can tailor the way that you network to suit the event that you're going to. So, and then I have flyers for leads on the list. I have done it before and I haven't done it, and I don't, you see, I'm the person, like I said, when I bring those flyers home, they end up in a bag. I mean, I go to House and Garden Show every year and I come home with a bag full of bits of paper that sits in a cupboard for 4 years until I clean out. And I look through the flyers and go, oh, wow, that one was quite interesting. And that was the last time I looked at it. So maybe it's just me. I'd love to get your feedback on if you find it useful receiving flyers with information at an event. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. So yeah, so then when you're at the event, the key things that you want to make sure that you do is that you introduce yourself. Introduce yourself to as many people as you can. Hi, how's it? I'm Bianca. Try and be as forthcoming with information as you can. You want to be as involved and approachable as possible. If people know your name, you automatically become more comfortable for them. Comment about what someone's wearing or the weather or something that's universal, and, well, I mean, compliment someone about what they're wearing. Don't just comment, oh, wow, that's a really interesting jacket. We want to make sure that we're trying our best to make a really good impression. So introduce yourself, talk to people. Don't stand around at the coffee and stare at your spoon stirring your coffee. The whole point of networking is that you're actually networking. It's not a net sit or a net eat. So make sure that you're actually there to do the work. Often it's really difficult, and I understand that. I'm a people's person, so it's a lot more comfortable for me, but networking genuinely for the first, I want to say 6 to 12 months of my business was my full-time job. I would have gone to an envelope opening if they invited me. I went to every single networking event that I could find. And I did as much practicing of what I was doing and what I was saying and the services that I was offering as I could possibly get together. I went everywhere. I told everyone who would listen what I did. I would have conversations about my business and what I did and ask questions about other people's businesses, standing in queues at the Woolies aisle or in the post office or anywhere anyone would listen, because I was so keen to just start connecting with people about what I did. And the more I was able to practice it, the better I got at it. So I would definitely recommend that the more you practice, the better. I also networked a lot online. I think for our business in particular, it's important that you connect in a number of different spaces with other people that are that may be in your industry or that are local to you. But networking definitely paid off for me in the end. What is really interesting is the number of referrals that I got in 2020 when the pandemic hit from people that I had networked with 2-3 years prior to that. And I think that was the most telling thing, is I'd made an impression 2 years ago. There were people that I had hardly connected with once my business got going, and were probably not even considered my ideal client, but they were the ones who were connecting with me last year when stuff was really at its worst. I was getting referrals left, right, and center because people knew that I was the person who could help with that sort of stuff, and I was the person that had the tech knowledge, and it helped my business immensely. And so I put huge amounts of value on Facebook, huge amounts of value on networking, both on Facebook and other social media platforms, as well as in person. And the relationships that I built up through those networking events that I'd attended all those years ago really did pay off in the end. The other thing that you really want to do when you're at a live event, and it applies as well to networking in groups on Facebook and those sorts of things as well, is you want to book follow-ups. So you want to make sure that you're connecting with people one-to-one. As brilliant space networking groups are, you want to make sure that you're actually connecting with someone one-to-one. And whether you set it up as a Zoom meeting or you set up and meet someone for a coffee at a later date, there's so much more value that you can get from connecting with someone in person, one-on-one, about what their business does, being able to share what you do. But also, don't request those follow-ups purely from a selfish perspective. I would connect with clients, I would connect with people that you think might be your ideal client, or may work with people that are your ideal client. And what you want to do is set up follow-ups with them to really connect on what their business does, and make that the premise. I'd love to get to know more about your business and how you work and those sorts of things. So can we connect next week? Let me know when is a good time for you, and we can put it in the calendar and meet somewhere, or set up an online meeting or something like that. One of the first things that I did was set up a Calendly account, which you can do for free for one event, and set up a 30-minute call Calendly account, and have people book a call with me. I would give that link out like it was candy. I would give it to anyone, and was very happy to get on a call with just about everyone, purely because it meant that I was at least talking to people. So I would make an effort to make it as easy as possible for people to book time with you. And when you are going to in-person events, try and book in-person follow-up meetings. Can we grab a coffee next week? Because obviously you know the people are local to you. Can we grab a coffee next week? I'd love to get to know your business a little bit more. At the actual event, you want to ask lots of questions as well. The more you show interest in someone, the more they are likely to show interest in you. So you want to make sure that you are showing an interest in the people that you are interacting with. Ask questions. Don't turn it into a barrage of questions, but ask leading questions. You don't want to be asking yes/no questions. You want to be asking, so how did you get into business? How did you get into this field? How long have you been in business? How many people on your team? You want to use those what, where, how, why, those questions. It's been a while since I was in school. So those are the questions that you want to be asking, leading questions that are going to get you more information and start to know a little bit more about the people that you are meeting. I always find it really important to make sure that you thank the organizers at the end of an event, whether you enjoyed yourself or not, whether you got any leads or not. I would still go and make a point of thanking the organizers. You will be surprised at how few people thank someone after an event. Even sending a follow-up email after the event to the organizers and thanking them for having you there and for the opportunity to connect with all the people that you connected with. It makes an impression in the organizer's mind. And so I would highly recommend that when possible, thank the organizers. Thank them in writing if possible, because you then start to show up on their radar as well. So being thankful is an amazing way to bring more into your life. There are a few do not do's, and they apply both to in-person and online spaces. If you're going to be networking, under no circumstances should you be spamming anyone in any way. And when I do the training, I do a training in MailChimp, and I describe spamming as anything that you haven't asked for. So if someone hasn't asked you for a business card or hasn't made it clear that they would like your business card, don't leave it on their chair or shove it in their hand. Ask questions, have conversations, pass your information on if it makes sense. There's nothing worse for me than arriving at a networking event and 5 or 6 of the people going around placing their flyer on every chair at the networking event. It's just spammy. You know how much you enjoy getting the junk mail in your post box at home, or seeing adverts for things that you have absolutely no interest in. It's just not a nice experience. And the same applies to being in person and handing out your information. Don't do it, just don't spam. The same applies to if you get an email list. Under no circumstances should you ever add all those people to your email marketing platform. It's just uncalled for. If there are people that you would like to connect with, email them one-on-one. I also would never, ever reply all on an email that's been sent badly and everyone at the event is copied in. Again, it's spammy. It's in people's inboxes when you haven't been invited in. So I would definitely connect with people that you spoke to, say, hey, it was great to chat to you yesterday. We talked about this and I found this resource, or I offer this service which might be of interest to you. But really tailor it and make sure that it's clear that you are addressing that one person's conversation that you had with them. Don't forget the follow-ups. You've booked some follow-up calls. If there were people that you wanted to connect with and you weren't able to on the day, pop them an email. I would even email everyone that you set up calls with, or that you even tentatively discussed having a call with or a coffee with or something like that, and pop them an email and go, it was really great to chat. Here's my link to book a call, or just confirming that we've got a coffee date set up on Thursday at 4 o'clock at this place, so that you are showing the initiative that you're connecting with people. And then, like I said earlier, don't net sit or net eat. It's called network for a reason. And then we spoke about so don't ever force your business card, pamphlet, or information on anyone. Wait to be asked or offer in a friendly way. Don't ever add anyone whose email address you received to a mailing list without express permission. I sent a very snotty email this morning because I sent a quote for a client to I sent a quote request to a restaurant for a client 3.5 years ago. And today I received their email. marketing. Out of the blue, haven't heard anything from them in 3.5 years, but today, all of a sudden, I'm now receiving their email marketing list, even though I have never signed up for any of that from them. So I've sent a very strongly worded email to them this morning. So when it comes to online networking, I realize that we are getting a little bit long. I normally try to keep these to half an hour. But I'm going to keep going because I'm really passionate about what I'm talking about. This is something I really enjoy. So I'm just going to go on the 2 questions that were asked on my post, which I put in the group on Monday. And the one is, there are other people in my industry at a networking event. How do I handle that? That's going to be a tough one. You're probably going to struggle to be at networking events or online groups where there aren't people from the same industry. I think what's important there is one, I would first go and say hi to your potential competitor. Introduce yourself, have a chat about what they do. You may find that you have completely different audiences, or that the clientele that you work with are completely different. It may actually end up that you can refer people to each other. If that's not the case, and you actually deal with exactly the same clients and work in the same software and all of those sorts of things, I would just stick to what I've recommended. Be friendly, be the person that asks questions and get to know people. Go into a networking event wanting to give more than you get, and you'll be surprised at how easily you'll stand out from the crowd. The other question was applying as well. How can networking help? Don't people only support people they know? That is correct. People do support people that they know, like, and trust, but how are they going to know, like, or trust you if they haven't got to know you? So the key thing with networking is connecting with people. It's finding the ways that you can actually connect one-on-one with someone. Identifying with them in their business experiences, finding the other key thing to remember with networking and with marketing in general is that the studies have shown, which is our favorite saying in our house, because there's a study that's shown just about anything you want it to, actually. But the general consensus is that when it comes to marketing, it takes sort of 7 to 12 touch points of a particular thing in order for you to gain, to actually get someone to buy from you. And our client is one of our clients, Chantal from One Day Webs, who's an amazing web developer if you ever need one. That's how long it took her. 8 networking meetings. I have been going to KZN Women in Business with Chantal for 6 years. I was first there with a different business, and then I changed businesses, as did she. And we were at the same networking event. I was there every month for 7 months, saying out loud who I am, what I do, what kind of help I can give, being very clear. Every month I was getting clearer and clearer on what I did for people. Eventually, the 8th month, she comes to me and goes, I think I might be ready for you. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And we joke that Chantal is our client zero, because it was when she started on as my client that my business turned around. I got referrals from her. I learned amazing new skills, which have completely turned my business around and completely changed what we offer. But it was consistently showing up in front of the same people every month. And I've been doing it every month for 4 years. And although my offer changes and what I say in my 30 seconds, I try and change it up every month, I've been showing up in front of the same people every month for 4 years. And some of those people come and go from the networking, and there's a handful of people that have been exactly the same people for 4 years. But those are the people that can refer to me. I have nothing to do with belly dancing. I'm not a belly dancer. I don't know how to belly dance, but I get referrals from a belly dancer at our networking events because she knows what I do and I know what she does, and I can make suggestions. So if you need a belly dance teacher, I can help you there as well. The biggest thing that I've learned with networking is that it helps you become a connector. And being a connector of people can bring you immense amounts of joy and a whole lot of good karma. And that for me has always been a passion. So what was the question? So yes, people do only support people that they know, but they can't get to know you unless you're showing up in front of them. So make a point of showing up wherever those spaces are. So then when it comes to online networking, there are a number of places that you can do that. Yeah, and so online networking. Sorry, I was busy reading the comments. Let me just go have a look at the comments quickly. I see Jade had a quick jump on and said hi. I see she was also added to their mailing list because she works for the same client. Yeah, very special. So yeah, online networking. So there are a number of places. Generally, most online networking that is quite successful happens on either Facebook or LinkedIn, as far as sort of work related. More and more a little bit on Instagram. I will be honest and say that I have absolutely no idea how networking would work on Instagram. I'm sure there's probably someone in our group who can help you. So if that is a platform that you're interested in learning more about, I will do some digging and find someone who can help us on that. Generally, Facebook groups is one of the best ways to connect with networking for the online space. A lot of people are already on Facebook, and so that's why Facebook group networking is a good option. The other option is to network on LinkedIn, which works a little bit differently. There used to be groups on LinkedIn, but I haven't really seen much activity in those anymore. If that's a platform, if those groups are still working, do let me know. But I know probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was quite active in a couple of the LinkedIn groups, but they're very much quietened down. I don't remember ever leaving the groups, but I get no notifications on them anymore. So the kinds of things that you want to be connecting with sort of when it comes to online networking groups are things like local networking groups. Groups of people in your town, in your province, closely sort of local related. Those are always going to be good options, especially when you're starting out. It's an easy way for people to get to know you. You've got a quick way of connecting with people. There are topics that you can connect on, which are going to be unique to where you're from. So local groups are always a nice option for starting out. If you're a little bit bigger and you're starting to work with more clients or bigger clients, international clients, obviously then your local groups start to be a little bit different. The next type of group that I would try, and when I'm talking about groups, you can also sort of think of this as the kinds of people that you'd want to connect with in LinkedIn if LinkedIn is a platform that you enjoy working on. I'll admit I'm the absolute worst, so go ahead, connect with me. I'll probably accept and probably not post terribly much. I'll like maybe log in once every 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll be the first to admit that LinkedIn is not my strong suit. But when I talk about the kinds of groups that you want to join on Facebook, you can sort of think of them as the types of people that you'd want to connect with on LinkedIn as well. And so you want to connect in groups of your ideal client. Sometimes this might be a little bit more difficult to get into a group, but I would still sort of make an effort to find groups where you can connect. So if you want to work with entrepreneurs, then find some groups of entrepreneurs. If you want to work with real estate agents, see if there are groups on Facebook that are for real estate agent networking and those sorts of things. And I would look at joining groups where you are with large numbers of your ideal client. You also want to be connecting with groups within your industry. So it's always good to join a group like the VA Empowerment Circle, somewhere where it's not all about advertising, it's about connecting with other people in your industry who understand your industry and can share in your wins and your trials, where you can connect with people who can help you understand, help you grow and teach you things and understand the kind of job that you do and the kind of work that you do on a daily basis. Of course, my cat now wants to come and sit on my lap. Sorry. So yeah, I would also connect with groups. I would try and find ways to connect with groups of your mentors or if your ideal clients have their own groups. Those are really good groups to network in, because you can start to become known as the person who knows about something before you even approach your ideal client to work with them. So I was part of Sabrina Phillips' online Facebook group. I was in Chanel Seguiris-Bruce Coaching's Facebook group, and they both have very active free Facebook groups. And there's immense amounts of opportunity to show that you are helpful. And so those are the sorts of groups that I'd be joining. Then the absolute key thing, and this applies not only to networking groups, but just about any group that you join on Facebook, these rules are the key thing that I recommend to absolutely everyone if you're going to get the most out of Facebook. Pay attention to the group rules. Read the rules of a group when you join. Check what are the policies with regards to advertising. What are the rules with what you can post on different days? Do they want you to post in a particular way? The owners and admins and moderators of the group will immediately start to recognize people who are new to the group and follow the rules explicitly. It's really important. And it makes the admin and the moderator's job really, really easy. And then the girls on my team will tell you this next one, I call them out on a regular basis. Help in public. If someone asks a question and you go, DM me for the answers, how is that helping anyone in the group? Always try and help as much as possible in the group, in public. Post your answers. You don't need to provide the full answer. You need to give enough information that it's clear that you know what you're talking about. But you also want to make sure that you are providing, that you become known as the expert. And that is how you start to get referrals. And I'm starting to get referrals from Facebook groups now because I'm the person who knows how to answer certain questions. And I happily go in and explain my answer. I give way more than I get from a lot of the groups that I'm on. But I do everything in public. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. You sell by helping. And that is how you build up relationships. And that is how people get to know, like, and trust you. If people see you regularly helping people on a group, answering questions, explaining how to do something, going off and doing a Loom video and sharing it in the comments, those are the people that start to recognize you and go, oh yeah, she's the person that knows about that. So when someone else asks a question, they tag you and go, pretty sure Bianca can answer this one, or Adrian can answer this one, or Michelle can answer this one. So make sure that you are helping in public. The more obvious you are and the more forthcoming you are with answers, the more answers you're going to get to questions when you need them answered, and the more help that you're going to receive from people that are looking for assistance. And the more likely you are to get tagged on that problem. For example, I'm now on a couple of web developer groups, and I've now received 3 or 4 client referrals for setting up Google Workspace accounts. It's not a core offering of ours, but it's something that I have experience with, and it's something that web developers absolutely hate. They hate having to do that for their clients. And I'm now tagged when someone goes, does anyone know anything about Google Workspace or how to move something across or something like that? People tag me. Strangers tag me. People I've never actually had a direct interaction with are tagging me on posts about that, because I've become known as the person who happily takes that crap on. I don't think it's crap. I have no problem doing it. But that's the other thing. Like you asked, Adrian, what if there's someone else in the group with the same industry? There are hundreds of VAs in those groups, or tech VAs. But no one else seems particularly interested in working in Google Workspace. So I've come to stand out as the person who does that sort of stuff. So it's always sort of useful to help in public. The more public, the better. Stick to the purpose of the group. So if you've joined a women's networking group, don't start talking about your husband's business or something, or if you've joined with your VA business, don't now try and talk to people about the essential oils that you sell on the side, or other things. Focus when you join a group on one particular topic, on one business that you're there for, on whatever you are there to focus on, and make sure that you've joined the group and you stick to the purpose. So also, if it's a group which is based on learning, then promote learning. Don't start selling stuff, and those sorts of things. And then the last thing, which I think is more for me than anyone else, is don't waste time. Don't get and it applies to both online groups and in-person networking. As soon as you start to see that you're not going to get anything of value from a particular event or a particular group, I would give it maximum 2 months, or 2 or 3 meetings. If in that time I don't see any return on my time, even if it's a free event, if there's no return on my time, it's not worth me committing and spending more time in that. So I would really, really put a deadline. And if you're not seeing a return on investment, then leave, or don't commit too much time into that space. Like I said, when I started out, networking was my full-time job. For probably 6 to 12 months from the time that I started WAM Workspace, I was either going to every live networking event I could find. I was in just about every online Facebook group that I could find, and I was spending 4 to 5 hours a day trying to find ways to be helpful, learning as much as I could from the people that were in the group. And very quickly, from the amount of networking and the time that I was spending in these groups, I was able to start to answer questions. And when you get to that point, that's when you become known. And that's when you know that networking is having the right effect. So, yeah, so that is my networking 101 and how to use it to find clients. like Adrian asked, it's about getting known. It's about getting people to know you, to like you, and to trust you. They want to know that you're a person. So I would, as far as possible, join networking groups on Facebook and LinkedIn in my personal capacity. I would not be joining as a business page. I would be doing my best to connect with people one-to-one as often as possible. I would be sharing my Let's Chat link or organizing coffee trips as often as I could. I will be helping in public, always. That will always be my biggest recommendation to anyone, anywhere. Help as publicly as is feasible. And I would also make sure that I know what I'm going to say. So in the same way that you prep a 30-second elevator pitch and you make sure that you cover all the vital information as soon as possible, do the same thing when you join a group. Check what the introduction requirements are. Be as concise as possible. Let people know who you are, what you do, the kind of people that you serve, and who your ideal referral is. And you'll be surprised how quickly people start to connect with you. So that's Bianca from WAM Workspace, teaching you all about networking. Have an awesome day.